Welcome to today's episode. We're going to be talking about some of my personal experiences. My name is Preston McBride. You may have noticed me from a couple of our other episodes we've done, such as Abandoned Colorado or Extra Credit working with Alan. Now I'm here today to kind of tell you about one of my experiences with the paranormal, and it can be a little bit hard to explain, and you have to take it with quite a bit of faith, but I myself am a big cynic, so for me, this one experience stood out above everything I've ever experienced. Now, a reason I'm so cynical, even though I am Roman Catholic, sometimes I believe that some people believe that ghosts and apparitions are going to appear as if they're flesh. And so for myself, I think that part of the beauty of being religious is because so much of it is based on faith, and that's where a lot of the strength and connection comes from. But one year I was having trouble truly feeling as if faith was even worth having, or if religion was even worth pursuing. And that was when I was 16 years old, when I worked at King Soopers at store 91. Now, on this particular occasion, I had been working very hard at King Soopers as well as being a full-time student. And it was right before Easter, which in this year of 2015 would have been April 5th. So it was about the end of March. And I was having some trepidations about faith and all of that, and there was upcoming the Triduum, which in Roman Catholicism, the Triduum is several masses that take place right before Easter, and they're very crucial. And I wasn't able to participate in any of them, and I was feeling angry towards religion in general. Why do I have to even attend these? It was kind of giving me a dark feeling. So I could feel that my faith was entirely waning, and depression was kind of setting in, but not entirely the idea of being depressed, just feeling down. And on this night, I had worked all day, gone to school all day, worked all of that evening, and I was coming home. And the walk home from King Soopers to my house was a rather long one. The walk was about 20 minutes long. And after making it through the neighborhood, dimly lit, allowing for a little bit of maybe a creepy feeling to overshadow me, I finally got onto the main stretch leading to my house, where there was no street lights, and I would say it was about a quarter-mile walk through a field and then a long stretch of road. As I was walking, I had my earbuds in listening to music, but I felt like maybe something was watching me. Sort of fear, sort of trepidation overcame me, so I removed my earbuds, and I kept walking, and I felt as if there was something on my right-hand side. So I looked, and there was a bunch of deer up on this hill just staring down at me. Keep in mind, it is dark. There was hardly a moon out at all. Very, very dark, very creepy, and that just, even though they're just deer, it kind of gave me a chill. But then the deer looked behind me and then took off running. Now there's a lot of coyotes where I live, so a coyote behind me would have been more than possible, but without giving the opportunity to look behind me, I began to jog. And the deer did not stop, they just ran. So it kind of, the more I thought about it, it kind of built up, like walking up the stairs from our basement thinking a killer's following you. That was the same feeling. So I began to sprint and ran. And my parents have a very tall driveway, so I shot up the driveway, blasted through the garage into the house. But right before I ran into the garage, I did take a quick glance behind me, just out of curiosity, and of course I saw nothing. But looking down into this large cul-de-sac that was only lit by one street lamp at someone's driveway just added to the whole feeling of it being very ominous. And after that I ran into the house, shot into the kitchen, up the stairs, into my room. So I was actually working at this very King Soopers on that evening when the whole incident occurred, and I was just about to clock out and then walk home. So this is right outside King Soopers. I had just clocked out, I was headed this way, and I was about to walk this path all the way home. We're going to show you a little bit more in depth. Like I said, it's about a 20-minute walk. Obviously, we won't show you the footage from the whole walk unless you're that interested in our feet and our walking capabilities. But this was right on the path to my house. Now I've walked about a half a mile to get to this exact point. I wasn't exactly feeling a lot of doubt or fear just yet, but as you can see, there's a lot of houses around us, a lot of high traffic going on here, so there wasn't quite any sort of fear or trepidation that had set in just yet. So behind me, after completing this long walk, we've got the field in which I walked down through, and at the very end there's a long stretch of road. Now the deer were along the stretch of road, but it wasn't until I hit this path that my fears really came to light. After I spotted the deer along that main ledge there, they shot across, running along right above the ditch. That's when I began to jog, kind of sprint out of fear. Once I reached my bedroom, it was rather cold in the house, but particularly in just my room, it felt frigid. Now it's always kind of cold in there due to it being at the top of the house on the corner. So this is a common occurrence for it to be rather chilly in my room, several degrees colder than the rest of the house. But wanting a little bit of warmth, wanting a little bit of light in what was a very dark feeling I had, I grabbed a bunch of tea candles and lit them in a box that I had. I would say about 10-15 tea candles. And sitting there like an idiot, I lit all the candles and had my hands over the tea candles trying to gain some sort of warmth, just staring at the light and trying to clear my head, get rid of this weird dark feeling I had. It was the end of the evening and I needed a shower before going to bed, so I grabbed one of the tea candles, blew it out, but it was very waxy still, very nice and melted, and took it into the bathroom with me, set it on the left side of my sink. Now let me set the stage for you a little bit. My sink is in the middle. If you're facing it, there's a very large mirror, and then to the right of the sink there's about 1.5 feet to 2 feet of counter space. So I set the candle on the left side of the sink, right on the little corner of the countertop, lit it again, brushed my teeth, shaved, and did all that sort of business. After that I took out my cell phone, which was an iPhone, nothing too old and archaic, and turned music on with the screen facing up and placed its speaker first against that wall on the right side of the sink so the sound would, be able to reverberate a little bit better so I could hear it even with the water running. And I remember placing the screen up so even though my hands were wet from shaving and brushing my teeth that I could still use the screen to skip a song or whatever the case might be. Just basic logical things that any person would really do. With the candle still burning, there's no reason for me to blow it out at this time, I finished up what I was doing, and as I walked towards the shower, I blew out the candle, jumped in the shower. With the creepy feeling that I did have, I was in no place to make this a long and relaxing, luxurious shower. So I sped through, and all the while I felt like I could hear the drawers opening and closing, so it kind of made me nervous. So about 2 minutes into my shower, I removed the curtain a little and I peeked out and noticed that the candle was no longer there and was in fact, and I didn't really notice where it had moved, I just noticed that it wasn't there. I closed the curtain and I was trying to think, wow, did I move it? And I remember very clearly just blowing it out and getting in the shower, all one sweeping movement. Turned off the water, opened the curtain, grabbed my towel, dried myself, and I was just thinking, wow, this is really creeping me out. Get out of my head. Why am I creeping myself out? And that's when I noticed that my phone had been moved from against the wall and was turned parallel, or I guess perpendicular to the mirror, parallel to the sink. And it was face down, screen down, with the candle, the little tea candle I had recently blown out, so the wax would not have dried, especially in a steamy bathroom. And the candle was placed face down on the back of my phone. If I had done that in the time of me getting in the shower, by some weird entrancement, the wax would have spilled all over the back of my phone. And my music wouldn't have been able to play. There's no reason I would have done that, and I knew that almost instantly. At that, I flicked the tea candle off of the back of my phone, grabbed my phone, and hightailed it into my bedroom, jumped into bed, and sat there staring at the bathroom thinking to myself, wow, something has really just happened that I've never experienced or felt before, and that was real. That was entirely terrifying. Now, to some, this might seem as a simple matter of happenstance, but for me, nothing quite this extravagant had happened with anything paranormal. I would not have done any of those things. Every time I would listen to music in the shower, I would make sure that my phone is at least butted up against a hard surface so the sound would, ruminate a little bit and actually be able to hear it. So the fact alone that if the phone had moved, I would have still been a little bit leery, wondering, I know I didn't do that, but how did it move? So of course my brain began to wonder how I could explain it and truly debunk this situation. So I wandered out into the hallway after gaining some courage and getting rid of that fear, and I noticed that my father and mother were both asleep, my sister out cold, and my little brother was asleep. And not only that, but I had locked the bathroom door, so there's no way that they could have played a prank on me and then somehow locked the bathroom door again from the inside after they had left. So the idea of anyone besides myself tampering with the situation was completely removed, and just left me with the idea that whatever had happened was truly to reinstate my faith, especially right before Easter. And I don't think this was given as a matter of fear. There was nothing hostile really about the situation. But I think that what happened was just to show me that there are things going on about us at all times. And showing that doubt might not have angered someone, but might have encouraged something to make me believe again. And it did exactly that. The lasting effect was nothing short of predominant. I found myself being a lot more faithful, especially around this Easter time, and it carries to this day. There's not a doubt in my mind that there is something out there. It might not be the Christian God I have found myself to believe, but whatever the case may be, there is something out there and a greater power. Prior to this event, though, there had been several other instances that occurred, one outstandingly to do with the house lighting. Same situation, unable to debunk it all, but that situation, which I will speak on in another episode, led me to have more faith in this current situation with the candle in the phone. If you'd like to see more personal videos and stories, go ahead and click right here. If you want to see some more of our Culz videos, tap the link right there. And don't forget to like and subscribe, baby.